Hey guys, welcome back.
Happy New Year.
That's right. We told you we're going to see you next year, and it's actually next year already. Anything that we say is not meant to diagnose anyone. If you get cured, just don't mention our name. This is just meant to educate you on health and keto and intermittent fasting. I'm sure we're getting a lot of people coming in from all over the world, so you make note of that. Let's see how many countries show up today.
Okay.
And then also I wanted just to mention we are releasing, and you may have seen this already, but a 30-day keto challenge.
30-day challenge.
Low carb, no cheat.
No cheat.
For 30 days.
I got a head start. So I'll quit sooner.
Right, right. So
I'm excited.
So
this is fun. We'll all do it together.
Absolutely. And so this means that I want you guys to really do this long enough to see the results. Some of you, and I know this might be hard to believe, can't seem to go more than a week, without kind of budging a little bit. So if you're tempted to whatever, like I'm gonna give you tips every single day, and also once or twice a week we'll have a live thing. It's going to be on Thursday evening, and you'll get a notice, and we will help you and answer your questions. So I put some information down right below. There's two options. One is Messenger, and the other is just your regular text on your cell phone. So there's a number there. You just type it in, and then you just type in challenge in the little description on the text, and then you're in. If you're any place in the world, the country, anywhere, there's no restrictions.
Anywhere in the world, country.
So you can sign up. So it's not just U.S. And I'm going to give you the eating plan, and then
so everybody that's watching from all the countries,
anywhere,
can do this.
There's no restrictions.
Challenge. Okay, so we're in it. We're one united worldwide keto challenge, 30-day, no carb, no cheat. Well, low carb, I guess.
It's
the allowable carb.
We're in it to win it.
We're in it to slim it.
Okay, on that note, we're going to go to Kathy. Kathy, you're from Seattle, Washington, and you had a question. Are you there?
Hi, Dr. Berg. Yep,
Hi.
It's snowing here.
Oh, wow.
So I just started keto. I've been watching you for about a year, but I just really started in the last month and a half, and getting a lot of muscle spasms in my hips. Mm-hmm. And the tiredness, and then I get afraid. I want to quit because I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Mm-hmm. So that's my question.
Right. Now, question. Did you happen to see my video on the butt cramp, where you get this cramp in your hip area, your muscles?
No, I did not.
So I did a video on that, and usually, not 100% of the time, about 90% of the time, you need just more salt, sea salt. So here's
really?
What's that? Yeah, real simple.
Well, I do so much sea salt.
Oh, you do?
So that's kind of shocking.
Okay, well,
yeah,
guess what?
I do a lot of sea
if you're
salt.
already doing that, then it's probably not the answer. So are you doing any potassium?
No, I am not doing any potassium. That's what I was thinking it might be.
Yeah, so it's either going to be salt or potassium, and but here's the thing. Typically, people take calcium, but the way it works is that if you don't have enough potassium, the calcium won't go in. So I always start with enough potassium, and there's a great electrolyte powder you can check on the website that I have 1,000 milligrams. So. Plus it tastes good and it has the other minerals. So if you took 1 or even 2 scoops of that, I think you're going to be totally fine, because most people just need more electrolytes when they start this. And if they have any cramps in their butt, in their hip, in their legs, and then we increase the potassium. And if you do the electrolyte powder, it also has magnesium too, so that's the other one. So that's pretty much going to solve your problem. So go ahead and try that, Kathy, and let us know next week, okay? Thanks for your call. All right, and then we're going to go right to Teresa from Oregon, just south of Washington State. Are you there, Teresa?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, you had a question. What's your question?
Yes, well, first of all, I want to thank you for your service. I'm an Army veteran also.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I retired as a combat medic.
Did you really? Did you go to Fort
so-
Sam Houston, Texas as your training?
Oh, yes, I did.
I was there as well. What year were you there?
I was there in '86.
Okay, I was there in '83, actually '84, and the Country Club of the Army.
Yes.
I was also trained as a medic
Yeah.
before I was an X-ray tech, so I know exactly where you were. That was an adventure.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up on 100% permanent and total disability, so
Oh,
I'm
wow.
on the mends now. And
Okay.
I'm also in school to be a doctor. I switched from MD to high geophysician.
Wow.
So keto has been my lifesaver so far to help me get back to healing. It was filling in the blanks of things that I just hadn't learned yet. I'm down to my last couple of years, so I'm super excited about my journey, and I
Awesome.
thank you so much for being part of it.
Oh, fantastic.
My question about keto, is pertaining to my boyfriend. He is on a non-mucus forming diet. He is on keto for 2 weeks now. He's already lost 20 pounds, but he suddenly developed an issue with vertigo.
Okay.
I know, and he also has prostate enlargement, so I know to not let him be on antihistamines. What's left?
Got it. Good point on that. Does he have any sinus issues at all?
No.
Okay. So with
No,
his,
I've had him do the Epley maneuver. No, and it didn't help either.
okay, so if you do keto and you get a symptom of vertigo and it's nothing to do with the sinuses, I would check. I would increase the sea salts because vertigo. One of the symptoms of vertigo, or one of the deeper root causes, it would be adrenal problems, which can make you feel very dizzy, especially when you're standing, and postural problems. So I would look at supporting the adrenal with actually sea salt and actually B1. Now, the other thing with B1 is that B1 seems to be really good for supporting and repairing nerve damage, and including nerves into the inner ear, especially if you have this condition called POTS, which is an extreme version of vertigo. But does he actually have vertigo when he, just in general, or is it when he gets up too fast?
It's generally when he's lying down and he switches positions.
Yeah.
Or he bends over and stands back up.
Yeah. Okay. So, two things, real quick. Take nutritional yeast, a lot of it, some sea salt, and then have him watch my stress webinar on the adrenal and do those procedures to support the adrenal. I think that's really what he needs. Awesome. Thanks for calling. We'll talk to you soon. All right, Karen,
Yes.
what do we got?
Well, I am not even done here. People are really turning out this morning.
Oh, before you do that, Karen, I just want to tell Terry I can't seem to drop that call, Teresa's call, so I'll let you deal with that. Okay, Karen, go ahead.
Okay, good. Anyway, the point is, I'm not even through finding out where everybody's from.
Yeah?
Do you want me to do the shout out or ask a question, or what do you
No,
want?
I want to know where people are calling from.
Okay, well, so far, of course, all over the US of A. Sweden, the UK, Tunisia, the Netherlands, Bolivia, Costa Rica, Canada, Germany, Finland, Australia, Holland, Morocco, Spain, Ireland, India, Italy, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, Lithuania, Scotland, the Dominican Republic, Egypt, Baghdad, Bulgaria, and I'm embarrassed to say, Keokos. That's new for me.
I've never heard of that
Please send me
country.
more information. I need a map. And I haven't even gotten
Wow,
to
that's
Facebook. These are
incredible.
YouTubers. Welcome. And isn't it just so cool that all over the world, people are growing healthy with keto and IF. It's just so cool.
What's really good is if you guys from any country want to sign up for this keto, the 30-day challenge, just realize it's a free thing. It's just going to help those people that want some extra help. Daily tips you're going to get on your cell phone, either messenger or texting, but all over the world. So you should
Take a
do
before
that.
photo if you are so inclined.
You can
Make
upload
sure
it.
you maybe have some measurements or your weight or whatever, just for yourself. And if afterwards you want to brag, then do it, and we'll share it.
That's right. And I have a quiz coming up, so just stay tuned. Do not touch that dial. I need to go to Ron from Helmet, California. Ron. Oh. Frozen. I can't.
Okay, well, let me
here.
ask a question then.
Okay.
Because I had a few questions coming through from YouTube on post-surgery, rotator cuff surgery, hip surgery, knee surgery. What would you recommend beyond just general keto and IF? Is there something specific you'd recommend to speed up the healing?
It's just another great idea for a video, but there's a lot of things you can do to speed up recovery. And this comes down to this one word that a lot of people, it's new for them, hormesis. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Hormetic? This is basically inducing a small stress to create an improvement in your recovery.
They're not using this camera.
So
They're not paying attention.
So the thing is that you have intermittent fasting. That creates a stress that actually causes your body to adapt. You have also doing all sorts of things with like heat and cold, going into cold and then going into heat, taking a cold shower. So as far as recovery goes, honestly, one of the best things to do would be to do oxygen therapy if you really want to recover fast, because...
You mean like hyperbaric?
Hyperbaric, absolutely. Vitamin E is a really good nutrient for recovery, especially if it's ligament, tendon, or muscle. Anytime you have a weak muscle, you need vitamin E, but don't just get the synthetic version. Get something that is like tocopherols and tocotrienols. Okay?
Right.
That's what you need to do.
So what's the difference then, hormesis and autophagy?
Hormesis is basically producing a stress to cause your body to become stronger.
Okay, it's the stress. It's
like adding, like even homeopathy. Well, you take a small dose of a poison to improve your body, you know. So it's there's a lot of things like hypoxic training. Like I bought you one of those masks. I didn't come yet, but you basically train with exercise by restricting your airflow to then increase the size of your red blood cells by just get super big. So there's some really cool things to do with that.
cool.
And Steve, I'm going to let you try to figure this out.
We like to have Steve in
So see how this doesn't
under our
click?
desk every week.
Okay.
Okay, well let me
All right,
find.
so give me another question, Karen.
Okay, good. Okay, so here we go. So here is someone named Kieran, is 28 and has a problem with a hormonal imbalance. Gets frequent UTIs and weight gain. What can she do?
Well, I'm assuming that she's on healthy keto because intermittent fasting is really good for UTIs and infections and all that other stuff. So intermittent fasting, very important. Also, you want to keep your carbs down because these microbes live off carbs. And did you know that when you go on a fast, your microbes will live longer and they actually get stronger, your friendly bacteria? But the bad guys, yeah, they go away. So hormonally, you know, I need more data, like is it postmenopausal, is it thyroid? I don't know. Okay, good. So good, now we can go to Ron. Hey Ron, are you there?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay, good.
I called on today. Thank you.
You're welcome. So your
my question?
Yeah, what was your question?
Okay. I'm a 77-year-old male. I've been on your program since I turned 77, which was December the 18th. I'm a very avid cyclist. I probably cycle about 120, 150 miles a week.
Fantastic.
About 6,000 miles a year.
Wow.
Now, I'm about to go out, and I'm on your 18 and 6 intermittent fasting in your keto diet. Now, I'm about to go out in about another half hour, and usually I go between 40 and 50 miles, which is usually about 2.5 to 3 hour ride, maybe 3 to 3.5 hour ride. And I'm trying to get into the fat burning cycle, period.
Yeah.
But my question is, I'm right at that stage now. After 2 weeks, I've lost 17 pounds.
Wow.
But I've lost the energy level, and I'm asking, is it more important for me to stay in ketosis or stay on my intermittent fast? Like my 18 hours would be over at noon, but I'm into my 3-hour bike ride roughly around then. So I'm kind of flagging by the time I get through it.
There's some really great things you can do, Ron, that I think will just make a huge difference. One is to, especially if you're an athlete, you start taking potassium. Take more potassium. There's electrolyte powder that I recommend. You can get it on the website. But that potassium, for someone who exercises, is going to greatly supply both the nerves and the muscle with the electrolyte to increase endurance. Okay, so that's one thing right there, especially if you're on keto and intermittent fasting. Especially right before you work out, boom, you do electrolytes and you go. You might need just to add a little bit of sea salt to that. Now, the other thing you can do, if you don't want to break your fast, and I think it is important to just work this out so you don't have to eat, because you potentially, with adding that exercise and exercising when you're fasting, could greatly accelerate fat burning and get all sorts of benefits. And this is what you do. This is the time I would recommend taking exogenous ketones. Think about it. You're exercising, your muscles need fuel, your brain needs fuel, your heart needs fuel. Why not just take ketones? And I would get the ketone salts, okay? And you take those before you work out. I would not necessarily get the expensive version of the keto esters. That's very expensive. That's $30 a workout. I would get the salts, which all that means is you have to take them like a little bit earlier, like a half hour before you work out. Take like maybe 3 or 4, and you should be able to get the fuel you need to go longer. So and then the last thing I would do is I would take some vitamin K2. K2 is really important for the mitochondria, and you will have endurance. Every time I take K2 and I'm exercising, I can go up hills like I couldn't go through. You have more endurance. So that would be some secrets, Ron. Go ahead and try that and let us know how that works. All right, Karen. What do we have?
Okay, we have this many more countries.
It's incredible. So we have a whole bunch of countries, including China.
We want to, yes, we
I
have
don't even know how they're
Cyprus,
watching from
Mexico,
China.
Philippines, Pakistan, South Korea, Ecuador, Uganda, Argentina, Singapore, Bangladesh, Cyprus, Greece, Brazil, China, the UAE, go UAE.
Awesome.
Iraq, Guyana, Malaysia, Cayman Islands, Ethiopia, it goes on and on.
Fantastic.
It's incredible. I want to hit 60 countries. That's my goal.
Okay, good. Do you have it? I'll tell you what, let me give you the quiz, guys. So here's a quiz. See if you can get this right. And I'm going to mainly, I have several questions. So we're talking about antioxidants. Out of all the vegetables, what vegetable has the most antioxidants? See if you can guess this one. Okay?
Okay. In the meantime, Marion is saying, my heart always races in the morning. She's doing IF and keto and taking electrolytes. It's actually beating strong all day long.
So there's a couple reasons for high pulse rate. One would be low potassium, caused by maybe high carbs, which I doubt if she's doing that. So if you're taking potassium or magnesium and your heart rate doesn't come down, then the other thing it's going to be low B1. So she needs nutritional yeast, because B1 a lack of that will increase the pulse rate. But let's say, for example, she does that and it's still high. Then I would take vitamin E, tocotrienols. And believe it or not, that vitamin E is very essential for muscle, including heart muscle. So
awesome.
So now, while people are still answering, why don't I just get another question here?
Okay.
And I'm going to go right to Chris. He's from North Kingstown, Rhode Island. Chris?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, good. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
I have I have insomnia. I talked to you before, you two. I can't sleep. I think my sleep is coming from my stomach problems.
Yeah.
I've been to gastroenterologists. I mean, so many. They put me on antacids. They've gone down my stomach. They see the top of my esophagus had sores on it from the acid coming up.
Okay.
And at night I lay down and everything seems to come up. I think my sleep problem all these years is because of my stomach. Now I've been watching your stuff, and I started taking betaine hydrochloric acid. Is that what they call it?
That's correct, yeah.
Betaine. Yeah, and I'm getting a little bit, I don't know, a little sluggish with it.
Okay.
Should I just take that?
Well,
what do you recommend?
Here's what I would recommend. The challenge you're in, if there's sores in your esophagus or your stomach, or there's a irritation or an ulcer, then unfortunately you can't necessarily jump to the acid right away. You got to get the stomach kind of healed up a bit more. A couple good remedies. Zinc. Zinc is awesome for irritation to the stomach. The other thing is chlorophyll from the wheatgrass juice powder. Essential. Start doing that probably for 3 months before you add the betaine hydrochloride and the apple cider vinegar, because we don't want to irritate it. And then the other food that I think will soothe your stomach would be coleslaw. Coleslaw that you make has vitamin U, which is, they don't really actually even talk about that anymore, but it's basically a phytonutrient that will help with the stomach and digestion. It's great for ulcers and things like that. Those are things that I would do that I think can help you. And then about 3 or 4 months from now, then add the acid, and then the apple cider vinegar and the betaine hydrochloride, and I think you're going to be good to go. But that's what you need to do. But in the meantime, you could stay on keto. Thanks, Chris. All right, Karen, what kind of answers are we getting to this question? What vegetable has the most antioxidants?
Actually, it is all over the map. I would say the most repeat answer is kale.
I would imagine that
kale is
okay.
Probably, but there's lots of other answers.
So
cranberry artichokes,
okay,
Brussels sprouts,
you guys
broccoli.
Ready for the answer? What do you think it is?
Most antioxidants? I don't think it's kale.
And the answer is because artichokes.
Someone said artichokes.
Yeah, which is fascinating.
Good on you, artichoke.
Now
person.
realize that this is kind of a trick question, because there are a lot of vegetables that have more certain types of antioxidants than other, but generally speaking, this is probably the most diversified.
Okay.
But I mean, how many times
do people
eat artichokes?
Not a lot, and some people don't eat them at all, or even know what to do with them, or how to prepare them, or
eat them raw, right out of the garden. No, you just chew on them. Okay, so someone got that right. So we're going to ask the next question right off the bat.
Okay.
Out of all the berries,
okay,
which one has the most antioxidants?
Okay, someone already just answered that already.
Okay, so you
We're
guys work on that, because we need to go to Jeff. Jeff's been waiting patiently, and he's from, let's see, where is he from? He's from Brampton, California. I'm not sure where that, Canada, I'm sorry. Jeff, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm up here in the cold north.
Oh, I could imagine. Are you from,
Hey,
are you in Banff?
Yeah.
Or Brampton?
No, it's in Ontario.
Okay.
Brampton, Ontario.
Okay.
So it's like, we'll say Toronto. Everyone knows Toronto or Mississauga.
Okay, got it.
All right. Toronto's like a big metropolis. We just like suburbs of
Okay.
I guess we used to call it suburbs. I don't know what they call it anymore. Anyway.
Suburbs.
Right.
So my question to you was, by the way, thank you. A big thank you guys for taking my call.
Absolutely.
And Steve and Rick too. Thanks a lot. quick. So my question is, I'm breaking a fast using one of, can I say his name, Thomas's videos that, you take bone broth, 2 ounces of protein, some kelp, and a Rice Krispie cake, right? And basically I do that, and then I kind of struggle to what to have for dinner after that. And because I've been doing this 24 fast.
Yeah.
And I'm into day 6 right now. I'm using your app. It is awesome. It really keeps me on track.
Cool. Okay.
I believe it's your track. Yours, right?
Well, I think I do have an app, but I don't know which one you're using. But as far as what to eat after a you talk about prolonged fast, right? How to break it, right?
Yeah, like a 20-hour fast, right?
Yeah.
But before you answer that, I'd like to throw in a couple of other things. I have fibromyalgia. One thing. I'm male. I always struggled with my weight loss for many years.
Okay.
And basically, with the fibromyalgia, my doctors kind of thought, because I was about 319 pounds for a 6'1" frame, my doctor thought it would be a good idea. Well, we both agreed it would be a good idea to have the gastric bypass done. So I did that. I lost a lot of weight. I got down to about 200 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
The lowest I ever got was like 200. I never got to break that 200.
Okay.
And now, over the last, can I continue or no? Okay, go ahead, sorry. And I do, so I have the gastric bypass and I have fibromyalgia.
Okay. All right. So this is what I would recommend. Right now you have a smaller stomach, so you have to cope with that. And it's a little challenging. I've done videos on that. You can watch out on the specifics. But as far as breaking a prolonged fast, I don't know if I would do any rice, puffed rice at all, or rice cereals, just because it's going to raise the insulin. But here's what I would do. Of course, you don't want to do this huge meal. You want to do just a little bit. And one of the best things to do is a little bit of fermented vegetables. Okay, so it could be sauerkraut. That rarely creates a problem. Of course, maybe an egg, and then wait a little bit, and then you have maybe a little bit of soup or something like that. But you want to go really kind of gradual. But you know what? As you do this on a regular basis, you can do very well, and you can actually add a little bit more. But if you're doing this is mainly not for a 20-hour fast. You don't necessarily have to go that slow. But if you're going 3, 4, 5 days, that's when you really want to go real light. But either raw salad a little bit, or steamed vegetables or fermented vegetables is the best thing. A little bit of protein like an egg, and then wait a little bit, and then have a little bit bigger meal. And then you should be all set to go after that with a bigger meal. So you just want to kind of gradually kind of go up with the amounts and test the waters. So you shouldn't have a problem. But man, it's sorry it's so cold up there, but spring is right around the corner. So talk to you soon, Jeff. Karen, what was the answer to this question?
Okay, the top answers were blue, raspberry, goji, blackberry, aceia, and, elder.
Elderberry?
Yeah.
Okay. And the answer is cranberry.
I think there were very few, but there were a couple cranberry. I didn't say it because there were so few.
Now, as far as
I
cranberry,
love cranberries.
the problem is cranberry juice. And by the way, if you do cranberries, are they keto friendly? They actually are, because they're very, very sour and bitter, and you get a serious amount of antioxidants in the cranberry. You could just remember that relish that someone brought over with the cranberries.
Yes,
that would be
but
really
I
good with
also
lemon.
make cranberry sauce. No sugar, of course.
If you can have it raw, that would be the ideal scene. But here's the thing. The cranberry juice, even if it's unsweetened, does have a little bit of sugar, like 7 grams. So you don't want to do too much of that, and most of the time they sweeten it. So that's not a good option. But if you get it raw versus pasteurized in a jar, you're gonna get a lot of antioxidants. Now, the next question for people:
Okay.
what nut has the most antioxidants? Okay, let's see what you guys have to say with that. And then, while you look for another question, you have a question?
Sure, there's lots of
Okay,
questions
good.
here. So a question has come in here. I want to go back. Just a lot of here. Suffering from gastritis, duodenitis, severe stomach pain after eating protein from animals, and it hurts even more after taking apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, well, you have probably an inflammatory condition of your inner intestines. And anytime you have that, you don't want to do apple cider vinegar because it's going to irritate it. So, and then the fact that you have that tells me that your stomach is not acid, because that usually will prevent this issue originally. So if you try to eat protein, this is not going to digest too well. So what you have to do, you have to back up and start healing the inner lining. And the best thing for that would be the zinc and the chlorophyll from the apple cider vinegar, from the wheatgrass juice powder. You have that on a regular basis on an empty stomach. You have like a nice, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, because because wheatgrass has some interesting properties on your inner skin. It actually is a great support for that. And zinc, those two. And then intermittent fasting, you have to do a small amount of protein. You could probably do the keto aminos. That would be a good protein source, because then you don't have to really break it down, so it's good in the stomach.
What about the veggie solution? Is that enough protein?
No, it's not enough protein, but it's some protein. That would be a good idea. But that's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah. Derek from New York, Queens, he's on the line. Our regular caller. Derek, are you there?
Hey, Dr. Berg. Happy New Year. Happy New Year,
New Year.
Karen. How are you guys?
Hi, Happy
Good.
New Year. How's
Awesome,
Queens?
Awesome. Hope you guys are... Yes, Queens.
How is it going up there?
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's a little cold, but it's not bad.
Good.
Cool.
So, Dr. Berg, my question is basically, my whole deal.
Yep.
Inside and out, basically. My problem is, I actually urge a lot of the callers to. So I don't call in every week, but I do listen to the show, and I watch the show on YouTube every week. So, and I'm just saying this because you just learn so much if you listen and just watch the whole show. So I urge the callers to not just hang up or just, unless they have to go back to work or something like that, that they actually watch everything, because I've learned so much from you, and then on the other flip side, I've learned so much just by sitting back and just watching the show.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And so I urge people not to just call and just, hang up after they're done with their own little situation, if they can, if they have the option to. But anyway, I was doing very well with keto and IF. I mean, I was on Nomad for like weeks. I just didn't have to eat, and I was working out. I was perfectly fine, but it's this acid issue that keeps creeping up on me, and it has nothing to do with stomach acid. It has nothing to do with that because I'm supplementing it. It's just if I don't eat if I don't eat when I'm really hungry, the acid is just going to start coming up, and then it doesn't go away for a while, and now it's coming up strictly from the right side of my esophagus, and then it's kind of like I feel like these weird things, around the top of my esophagus. I don't want to think negatively about anything, of course, but I'm doing the wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is the only thing I drink. So I basically there's a green bottle of water. I don't want to mention the company's name. I don't know if I can or anything. But I just put your wheatgrass in there, and the big bottles, the 1.5 liter. I'll have like 3 of those a day, and they're filled with wheatgrass. Like I just dump the wheatgrass in there, and it doesn't have an effect on me because since I was young, I've been eating my mom's been feeding me cruciferous vegetables, so I get literally no bloating or nothing from it.
Good.
It actually helps me in so many ways. I can feel it.
So
I'm doing that.
Good.
I do the serapeptase.
And then
I do.
Okay, just
I'm sorry?
real quick, because I have about 15 more callers. So Derek, so you just want some advice on some additional help, right?
want some additional help on things to heal the esophagus. I'm already doing the serapeptase scar tissue.
Okay.
The wheatgrass I told you about, cabbage, red cabbage, sauerkraut. I do all these things.
Okay, so this is what I would recommend. I think there's a plumbing problem with the valve. I think you need to get your valve looked at. In this situation, like let's say you're trying this and you're trying that and it's still not, we just need more data. We need to do more of a test. I would try to find first a non-invasive test where they can measure some transit times, and if that valve is closing. If it's not closing, then probably there's an autonomic nervous system problem. And then there's a whole bunch of things you could do for that, but it's going to be mainly supporting it with nutrition, which does take some time. But the other thing too, for the actual healing of the esophagus itself, zinc is one of my favorite nutrients. I would just look up zinc irritation or ulcer or whatever, and then esophagus, and see what comes up to get the best data on that. So I would do zinc, and I think the valve's not closing. And there are other conditions where you're producing too much acid that don't involve a lack of acid. There are conditions on that, so you might want to look at that as well. Derek, thanks for being a supporter, and we'll talk to you soon. Karen, what do we got for an answer? What's the best nut for antioxidant?
Okay, well, there's a couple that top the list.
Yep.
Brazil, pistachio, and then there was some almond, some walnut, and pecan. All the nuts.
Let me take the mic away from you.
Okay.
And the answer is
Drum roll.
pecans.
Pecans. Wow.
Yep. Okay, one last question, guys.
Okay.
Out of all the spices and herbs, what has the most antioxidants? Okay.
Of
so this
spices,
is spices
and
slash
herbs.
herb. Spice slash herb. Can't
Say
even
that
talk.
again.
I can't talk.
Slices and herbs.
Yeah. Okay. So you look for a question, you write it down.
Okay.
And I'm going to go to Damer from, let's see, Palm Springs, California. Your name sounds familiar.
Hey, how are you, Dr. Berg?
Good. How are you?
Oh, great, man. Sunny Palm Springs, can't complain. I know you used to live in San Diego, so I'm sure you've ventured out here.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
First I want to thank you and Karen. In 7 months, I've dropped about 75 pounds. I went
wow.
from 308.
Awesome. Where's my bell?
Fantastic. 75. That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Down to about 225. Just applying everything I learned in your videos. I'll try to make this quick so you can handle all your callers. The reason I started this initially is because I have a history of diabetes in my family.
Okay.
And I was eating very terrible, just eating junk food, downing like 4 sodas a day, gummy bears before bedtime. And I drank a 32-ounce Gatorade and tested my blood sugar an hour later, and it was about 200. And that's when I realized I needed to make this change. And I went on your keto protocol. And 7 months later now, my blood sugars are fine. I haven't tested over 130 in about 4 months, regardless, even if I eat about 30 or 40 grams of carbs with the meal, which I do occasionally. And my only thing is, I've noticed I exercise about 6 days a week for about an hour and a half. I've noticed that now my blood sugar levels when I wake up are consistently around 105.
Okay.
And people have told me that it's usually not an issue if you're low carb, and it's kind of like your body adjusting. But after I eat, normally I won't ever go past about 120, regardless of what I eat.
That's good. So this is what's happening. This is called the dawn phenomena. And you, because of your history of eating a little too many carb, you have some pretty intense insulin resistance, which is going to take some time to really get that under control. In the meantime, as you're cutting down carbs from your diet, everything's improving that way, but there's still probably some rebound effects, whether it could be weak adrenals or something in your liver that just has to adjust. So you wake up in the morning and your blood sugar is a little bit higher. Could be also the adrenal gland. That's when at 8 o'clock it pops up and it releases sugar. So I wouldn't worry about it. What I would do, just as a real like it's on icing on the cake, is I would just start exercising in the morning right around as soon as you get up. Like do a workout, burn off that extra sugar, bring it down right now until you start waking up and it stabilizes. Realize that it's going to take time for your liver to adjust. It could take even up to a year. And also that insulin resistance. Just don't stop. Keep going. Keep your carbs in check. Do the challenge because that's going to actually help you stabilize things and really make sure you're not cheating. And that's really the purpose of it. For those of you that just popped on, we're doing a 30-day challenge, low carb, no cheat. And like really do it for real. No cheating on the weekends either. So I want people to do it long enough where it impinges and they start seeing some massive results. They're like, wow, man, I should have done this a long time ago, versus doing what's called sort of keto.
Kind of keto.
Yeah. It's going to be hard when you're around social events, but guess what? I'm going to give you a tip a day in the morning, and I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to give you suggestions. So we're all going to do it together.
You're going to experience what I experience first thing in the morning.
What's that?
Dr. Berg talking keto.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. I bring your coffee and I start the lecture.
Mitochondria lecture.
Yes.
Doc, it can be done.
5
I'm
a.m.
7 pounds down over the holidays.
Wow! Congratulations.
Wow. Ding, 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 ding.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think if people do it like long enough and it just kicks in there, that'll be like a huge thing. And but it sounds easy, but sometimes there'll be temptations. So we'll see who can do it.
Well, I think January is great because everybody seems to be, in a similar mindset. Okay, January, the holiday is over. It's time to reset. It's time to get the discipline back in. It's time to,
Right. And so we put the links down below in the description. You have two options, Messenger, which is kind of like a no-brainer, or you just basically go to your text, your cell phone, and type in challenge, but I give you a number to put in there first. Just don't type in challenge, it's not going to go anywhere. You have to put the toll-free number, doesn't matter where you are in the world, and then you can actually, tomorrow morning, you will get the first recording. So I spend a lot of time with these recordings, so I hope people like them.
Oh, I thought it was actually you calling every single person.
Actually, I do call you. Take that back. I will call you personally
killed the
and leave
illusion
a
right
message one by one, everyone. So we can only have like maybe 100 people do this, and then that'll be it.
10,000 people around the world. I'm
wasn't
really excited to see how many people around the world actually do this.
You know what's interesting? Somehow there was a little mess up, and I left my personal cell phone on this. So as soon as I released it this morning, I got like 5 calls. And so I'm talking to these people like, hello? And they go, yes, I'm trying to sign up for this keto challenge. And they say, who is this? I said, this is Dr. Berg. They go, Dr. Berg? Oh, I didn't mean to call you. I said, that's fine. Let's just go ahead and type in challenge and then press.
That's hysterical.
So I got people from all over the world calling me this morning.
And they saved your number. Now they're going to call you every weekend.
Yes, that's right.
Don't do that. But
That's right.
do the challenge, and let's see. It would be fun to just collectively across the world calculate how many pounds lost.
I'm going to have you do that since you're good at math.
I'll put it in a spreadsheet.
Well, Miriam is calling from Algeria.
Okay.
So are you there?
Miriam.
Miriam?
Miriam.
Hi, Dr. Berg.
Hi.
Karen.
Hi.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. I'm very grateful to be on the call today.
Awesome.
So, Dr. Berg, I got an endoscopy 2 days ago, followed by a biopsy.
Yeah.
So I was tested positive for HB bacteria. I think this is how it's
H.
pronounced.
pylori, yes.
Yep, and I have ulcer, Barrett, and hernia. That's a lot to handle in 2 days, but my doctor asked me to stop doing keto, but not IF, because I'm taking 3 antibiotics for HB, and what I eat in keto isn't dense enough to digest it. In fact, I have a lot of major stomach ache after breaking my fast. So my doctor advised to do carb cycling until I finish my treatment. So today I called you guys, Dr. Berg, specifically to, I don't know what to do because I'm really a big fan of keto, So what do you think about that? What should I
Yeah.
do at this point?
Well, this whole
Thank
thing
you.
in carb cycling, I'd like to know one benefit of eating and consuming carbs, especially when you have such an issue with your digestive system. It doesn't make sense to me that you would carb cycling. Why does your body need carbohydrates? These microbes actually live on glucose, so why not starve them? So you want to use your own judgment on this, because if you do healthy keto, and maybe you do small portions of high quality protein, and you do, I would probably do maybe steamed vegetables, just a little bit, maybe some soup, something like that. So eat a smaller meal after you break the fast so your system could digest it. You may do very well if you acidify the stomach by taking a little bit more apple cider vinegar pills or betaine hydrochloride. You might need like even 9, and you might feel really good, unless you do have a major ulcer. You said you had an ulcer, so that's not going to work. So I think you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So you're going to have to kind of heal the area first with maybe some cabbage and zinc, like we've been talking about, and then not add the acid right now, because I just looked down and I saw, you're right, you have an ulcer. But here's what you can do. And Karen, make a note. I need to do a video on hiatal hernias, okay? Because there's a great technique. We used to do this in the clinic all the time, where you're pressing up underneath your rib cage, and you're stretching back and forward. So you're actually creating a space in there because it's all congested, and it gives people lots of relief in the stomach area. Do both sides up underneath the rib cage. I'll do a video on that. You can watch that. So this video is exactly for you, and that's what I would do. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, Karen, what is the #1 spice that has the most antioxidants of all herbs and spices?
Okay. So the #1 answer is turmeric, followed by several: oregano, cinnamon, cayenne, cloves, garlic, basil, parsley, and ginger.
Okay, well, what's your answer? Now,
Antioxidants.
hint, hint, it's your favorite.
Cloves.
Yes, that is the #1.
Cloves, my favorite
But
spice.
I will say that turmeric is way at the top. And again, this is a generalized thing. They're looking at all the different blends of phytonutrients, because they have different things too.
Tip: use ground clove in your ground meat and your stews and your any meat at all. It's
If you chew on a clove,
amazing.
it will actually help a toothache
It's
and
numbing.
an abscess that has pain. So, yeah, cloves
There
are
you go.
good.
Love it.
Cloves are great.
I love it. Okay, so I have questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
good.
so talk about this idea of nutritional yeast, and what does it do? What effect does it have, if any, on candida or yeast overgrowth?
Well, some people are sensitive to yeast, and they for some reason can't even do any yeast, so they could react to it potentially. But typically, this yeast is not, well, it's not live. The nutritional yeast is not live, so you don't have to worry about it growing in your body. It's not going to actually feed your yeast that you have. It's very low in carb. It has a lot of trace minerals, amino acids, and the B vitamins. So typically, most people, a great majority of them, the 90th percentile, can do it fine, and it will not have a negative effect on your yeast infection. What you have to watch out for yeast or candida is the darn carbohydrate.
Dastardly
So
carbohydrate.
you have to break up with that relationship that you have with carb, and that's really the purpose of the challenge, is to help you break up, make a breakup with your
Split.
carb.
Divorce time.
Yeah, because it just got you into trouble. It's a troublemaker, that carb, and so I think that that's really what's behind, especially even the candida. Of course, milk sugar is the worst, so don't do milk. Okay.
Okay, good.
Good.
I'm sure I have another one here. So if someone has, like here, cirrhosis of the liver, what can help?
There's a point where it's like it's too far, and it's very hard to reverse that. But the best thing to do is to Serrapeptase is an enzyme that can help dissolve some excess proteins in your that shouldn't be there in your body. Another thing is autophagy. Autophagy is part of the fasting. Long fast, your body starts getting rid of damaged proteins, and that's what you're dealing with. It's fibrosis. It's this protein that's clogging up the liver, and usually the liver has to be almost completely filled with it before it really shuts down. So you can still survive and seem like you're fine despite having cirrhosis. But that really comes from inflammation. And inflammation comes from high glucose and sugar and bad foods and vegetable oils are highly inflammatory, and even viruses. So the best thing to do is to watch my videos on the liver. Like I have a lot of them in general. I'd watch those to get the full idea.
Good.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go to Luke from Ottawa, and he has a question for his wife. Go ahead, Luke. Are you there?
Yes, how you doing?
Good.
Thank you very much for what you do, and I'm reading your book right now, and we've been on keto for 2 months now.
Awesome.
Okay? Absolutely, well, I'm doing all the meals, and I do absolutely no carbs whatsoever in all the meals. I know where all the hidden sugars are, but I want to take you through a day to my wife's day, okay?
Okay.
She got up yesterday, for an example, and she got up at 8.8. That's our American standards for diabetes number 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she wakes up at 8.8, and she's just coming out. She's doing a fast. We've been doing fast for about 3 weeks now. So she's doing her 18-hour fast, and she's coming out for her 18-hour fast. She gets up at 8.8. At 12 o'clock, she's ready to eat, so she's eating she had an omelet with some cheese on the side, and she had bacon, 3-4 slices of bacon, 3 slices, I think.
Yeah.
And then her sugar skyrocketed to 15, and it's been there, and then it spends the whole day there, and by the time I got home, it's 16, 17, and then she's been walking. She goes with her mom to the nursing home, she walks, she drinks a lot of water. We're doing the sugars. We're doing the salt. We eat. We got all this our salt at the right level. Our potassium's all good. I'm following everything you're teaching online. And then and I got to tell you, she hasn't used. We've been trying to look with the insulin and everything, and she hasn't. At that time, she had no insulin for, I'd say, about almost a little more than 24 hours. She didn't take her night one the night before, and she wasn't doing insulin. We just wanted to see what was going to go on. Okay. And then we had supper. We had an avocado with a piece of fish, and we had a salad. So nothing, no sugar again, no sugar whatsoever. And I'm just wondering, where does the sugar come from to skyrocket like that? And again, this morning she got up and it was like 17, and she started moving around. It went up to 18, 20, and then she said, that's it. I got to do something.
Okay. So, Luke, thanks for your quick question. But here's the thing. I know there's more history that needs to be understood from what's going on. But I think here's the thing. When you have like someone that has really, really bad insulin resistance and you're trying to pull them out of that, and this is just my opinion. I'm not getting any medical advice on this. I'm just giving you my 2 cents. And you want things to kind of come back quicker. Here's a couple things to think with. I would get that you got a blood tester, so a glucose tester. So I would be testing it through the day. Keep a log, and realize that it's not just carbohydrates that will trigger insulin. It's frequency of eating, and it's also protein can also trigger insulin to some degree. It's usually not a problem. So for this situation, what I would do is I would eat a little bit more fat, a little less protein, a lot more vegetables, okay? And I would substitute with certain nutrients, potassium, vitamin D, chromium, and zinc, because those things can actually speed up the process, B1 as well, and help your wife get through this a little bit faster. And then, exercise is great. I would try to fast a little bit longer, and apple cider vinegar on the empty stomach with some water, and then see if that actually can help speed it up. But it's going to be a process. It's going to take some time, especially if she had it really, really strong. Okay? Thanks, Luke. All right, Karen.
Okay,
I'm
so
ready for a question.
Anna says today, it's a week since she started keto, eating 1 meal a day. She's down 9.5 pounds.
Geez, that's fantastic.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
See? 1 week.
She probably dumped a lot of water weight, which is really important. So if you start losing less, don't take a loss on that, because the amount of fat you can actually burn per week is roughly about 2 pounds. So, so you get rid of the water, and
but that's a big deal. A lot of us are carrying around just gallons of water.
Yeah. And also, if you lose 1 pound, that's still good too per week. So people always say, well, I'm only losing 1 pound. Well, that's actually pretty good for the average person, especially the first, the goal at first is not to lose weight.
Right.
It's to get healthy. The main thing is just to be able to do intermittent fasting long enough so you're not hungry. And if you can do that without losing weight, then that's the perfect first step, because that's getting healthy. It means it's working. So hunger reduction is the thing you're going after initially.
Good. Well, and that addresses somebody else who was asking. She said she's been on it for a couple of weeks, really strict, no carbs, hasn't lost any weight.
That's fine. How is your hunger? And also, how is your stomach?
And she's not hungry at all.
Then it's working. Give it more time. Is your stomach shrinking? Your body is going to actually deplete the liver fat first, then the visceral fat, which is around the organs, then the fat underneath your skin, like those love handles people have. It's like kind of a superficial fat. So it's like in that order.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Now let's see, I had another. So here's a question: nausea during intermittent fasting. Why would someone get nauseous during intermittent fasting?
Well, it's definitely it's an adjustment for people, and there's a lot of things happening, resetting. There's also another thing that happens with the cleaning out. There's like these little hairs on your intestine that actually go backwards when you're fasting too, that actually kind of sweep out stuff. And so you may have some changes with that. But also it could be an issue with the gallbladder. So if you have nauseousness on a fast, what I would do is I would massage underneath the right rib cage, about 1 inch down, and see if that doesn't make the nauseousness go away. But usually people will get nauseousness when they eat after a fast, because their body's like, it's kind of a shock to the body. It's a new thing. You gotta get used to it. So all these changes are good, but you just gotta do it gradual. And like if you jump into too much fasting too fast, it could be overwhelming. So you have to differentiate, and this is what some of the tips that I'm going to give you when you sign up are about. What's the difference between hunger and like hypoglycemia, where you're like your blood sugars are crashed? So if you start feeling irritable or weak, then you need to eat. But if you're feeling like hungry but you still feel mentally strong, ride the wave, keep going. Stephanie from Oklahoma City, she's been waiting patiently. She had a question. Are you there, Stephanie?
Yes, I'm here.
Great. What's your question?
Hey, Dr. Berg. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year,
Karen.
Happy New Year.
Calling. I have been following you for a little over a year and have been following the keto diet. Went into my doctor's office with an A1C of 13.8.
Wow.
And now it is 6.9.
Wow.
I've got it half down.
That's great.
Which I'm proud. I suffer from the typical, they used to call it the metabolic syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Hyperglycemia, hypothyroidism, high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Cannot seem to get my A1C down. I'm doing the intermittent fasting along with keto. I try to watch my carbs. I figured out the culprit was alcohol. That's when my blood sugars would spike.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a couple of glasses of wine at night, I could tell the difference the next day. What are the supplements you would recommend for this metabolic syndrome?
Okay, potassium, B1, that would be nutritional yeast, and electrolytes, you can get the potassium, and then zinc. Those should actually help you greatly. Vitamin D is also good. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
When you do keto, are there certain times of the week that you're eating maybe just a little bit of carb, whether it's I don't know, rice or a little bread or something like that, but not consistently, but just maybe on the weekends or something?
Oh, definitely. I'm a critical care nurse, and the way we are rewarded for working hard is pizza. And when you've worked a 12-hour shift, pizza is not hard to pass up.
Okay, so what I'm going to say, just make mental note, okay? A1C is an average of 3 months of blood sugars. You're going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to get it down if you're looking at averages, because if you're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that on the side. So in other words, to really see a good A1C, you'd have to be almost 100% good, no cheat, for 3 months. Because if you actually eat in between that area some carb, just a little bit of pizza, whatever, even if it's like on the weekend just one time, well, it averages out. It's going to be averaging out, and it's going to be a little higher. So really all you have to do is to stay really, really clean, no cheat, and you're going to be fine, which is really easy to do, especially if you're doing the 30-day challenge, which we're going to get you to the 30-day, and we're going to really extend it to like a year.
Then we're going to do 60-day?
Yeah, that's right. So a question that people have is like, when you're at a event, a party, and everyone else is doing it, like me, right? Am I kind of, do I stand out like I'm not drinking alcohol or eating these bad foods? So, but everyone else, they kind of look at me kind of strange, but.
Yeah, and in our group, you know, in the friends that we have, a lot of people are doing keto or observing, but, you know, I find that there's almost always, I mean, even in this past holiday, wherever we went, there was always something that you can eat.
Right. But you just have to be willing to, you know, be the odd man out and just, you know, just be clean, especially in this 30 days that we're doing this challenge.
Right.
Vanessa from Richmond, Virginia, had a question, a very important question. Go ahead.
Yes, hello everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm calling because I get all of my health care through the VA system. And a couple of years ago, they took out my gallbladder. And last month, they did a hysterectomy. But there was a complication, and they ended up taking my left ovary and severed my uter. So now, or yoder, I think they pronounce it. And now there's a tube going through my back from the kidney into a bag to drain the urine.
Oh.
So I was wondering, is it still, I don't have any dietary restrictions. Can I still do the 30-day challenge, or should I wait until after everything is settled and done?
Yeah, so they accidentally cut your ureter, which is the connection between your kidney and the bladder. That is
unfortunate.
Terrible. Okay, so this is, yes, you need to do this because doing it is going to greatly help the kidneys. It'll help general healing. It'll help inflammation. And adding more carbs is not going to help the situation at all. So yes, you can do it, and I would definitely do it.
And
awesome.
Happy healing.
Yes.
Fast healing to you.
That's right. Sharon has a question. She's in Florida. Are you there? Oh, okay, now.
Okay,
how come
so
I can't?
So you can see the question though. We have a little frozen screen.
Yeah.
It says, how can keto reduce inflammation? How does that happen?
My question is...
Oh, there she is.
Yes?
Okay, good. You had a
we
question.
couldn't hear you.
My question is... Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
My question is about Thank you. My question is about inflammation, because I have like pain in my my right shoulder. It comes and goes, and I notice when I'm fasting, it's not as bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I fast.
Good question. Chances are it's coming from
the gallbladder.
The gallbladder, and you should watch the video on the gallbladder and the right shoulder pain. So, but when you don't eat, there's no irritation in the gallbladder. The pain goes away. So there's a nerve that goes underneath there. If you watch my video, it's called gallbladder flushing. There's a technique that you can do. I think it will really benefit you. Gallbladder flushing. Watch that. But there's some other things too. If it's an actual shoulder injury, then vitamin D is your best bet. So you could take like 20,000 IUs. But I have a lot of different acupressure techniques on the right shoulder or the left shoulder you can do if you watch on YouTube. Actually, I'd go to my website because I have them more organized and you can find things. And by the way, one last thing, guys. Sometimes it's hard to find videos even on YouTube. So what I would do if I were you is go to my website, drberg.com, go into the blog, and I have a very good search bar, and everything is organized there, and you can find the videos there.
Right. YouTube is just sort of like yeehaw, but the website, drberg.com, very organized. You can find things by category. You can search. It's really easy.
Sign up for that 30-day.
Yep.
The link's down below. Check it out.
Let's
And
see.
stay tuned tomorrow morning for your first tip of the day.
And by the way, record number of viewers around the world. Thank you, world. And obviously, you guys are giving the people what they want. So
Wow.
record for the show from its start. So what a grand accomplishment.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Great bringing in the new year with you guys, and I'm really looking forward to see what we can do in 30 days.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a good one. We'll see
Okay,
ya.
bye.